Kidney stones are hard crystalline mineral materials that stick together to form small pebbles within the kidney or urinary tract. So, a diet that is rich in different organic and inorganic substances, if certain inorganic substances or salts like calcium, different oxalates, and other different minerals, or the breakdown products of proteins in the body like urea and uric acids, if they get high in the body or if their concentration increases, they may clump together inside the kidney and they forms masses. These small masses which are formed inside the kidney as a result of clumping together of the different minerals, these are collectively termed as the kidney stones. They can be of variable sizes, as small as grains of the sand or as large as the golf balls. The condition of having stones in the kidney is termed as nephrolithiasis. Now, the causes of kidney stones. The different causes of kidney stones are: number one is hypercalcemia. Hypercalcemia is a term that tells a high amount of calcium in the blood, and the high amount of a large concentration of calcium in the blood leads to large concentration of calcium in the urine. Second is hyperoxaluria. Hyperoxaluria is the term that is used for describing high content of oxalates in the body. And both oxalates, generally the oxalates, all the green leafy vegetables are rich in oxalates. So hypercalciuria and hyperoxaluria, these two collectively form the calcium oxalate type of kidney stones in the body. And most of the kidney stones are of calcium oxalates type. That is 70% of the patients, they have kidney stone of calcium oxalate type. Next condition, third, is hyperuricemia. The name tells that it is the large amount of uric acid in the blood, and it causes uric acid type of stone, and that is found in 10% kidney stone patients. Cystine and phosphate type of kidney stones, although these are rare, but these are also found in some of the kidney patients. And one of the main cause of kidney development of kidney stones is a continuous state of dehydration, and this continuous state of dehydration causes saturation, and saturation leads to precipitation, and so the formation of kidney stones. Kidney stone treatments. The two kidney stone treatments are: number one, extracorporeal shock wave lithotripsy, ESWL, and the second one is percutaneous nephrolithotripsy, that is PCNL. Extracorporeal shock wave lithotripsy, ESWL. In this type of lithotripsy, the shock waves are generated by lithotripter. These shock waves are focused on the stone inside the kidney. The shock waves cause the stone to vibrate. Increased vibration causes the stone to break down into the smaller pieces, and which are passed out of the body. Percutaneous nephrolithotripsy. In this procedure, a tube is passed into the kidney. Shock waves are used to break the stones, and once the stone is broken down into smaller fragments, these fragments are pulled out with the help of different instruments. A scope is used, termed as the nephroscope, to view the whole procedure. There are 5 major types of urinary stones. First, calcium oxalate, calcium phosphate, then magnesium ammonium phosphate, uric acid, and cystine. Uric acid stones are composed of combination of uric acid and calcium oxalates. They are normally 2 to 3 millimeter in diameter with either smooth or uneven surfaces. Branching stone is termed as a staghorn stone, one that is shown in the diagram. A staghorn a kidney stone is a term used to describe a large stone that takes up more than one branch of the collecting system in the renal pelvis of the kidney. Our second topic today is the kidney failure and its treatment. Kidney failure is a general term that is used for decline in the kidney function, particularly the efficiency of the filtering process. There are two types of kidney or renal failure. First is chronic renal failure, and the second one is acute renal failure. Chronic renal failure is a gradual, slow, and progressive disease that occurs over a long period of time. It causes an irreversible damage to the kidneys. An irreversible damage cannot be reversed or it cannot be repaired. Chronic renal failure may be caused by one of the following reasons: bacterial infection in the kidney, nephritis or inflammation of glomerulus. Glomerulus, we know that it is a network of capillaries inside the renal corpuscle or the kidneys. Kidney failure may be the result of damage due to high blood pressure, and one of the main causes of the kidney failure is diabetes mellitus. And high sugar content or the glucose level, it causes damage to the blood vessels, and once the blood vessels are injured or damaged, blood cannot be purified or cannot be filtered. Chronic kidney failure can progress to end-stage renal disease, ESRD, and uremia. It is deadly or fatal unless artificial filtering process or mechanism is used, that is dialysis or kidney transplant. Acute renal failure. The causes are hemorrhage due to trauma. Trauma may be mechanical damage, vomiting, diarrhea, diuresis, sweating, obstruction of ureters, lateral urethra, that is because as a result of development of the kidney stone, and severe nephritis. Nephritis is inflammation of the glomerulus inside the kidneys. And the treatment of kidney failure. Dialysis is the most common mechanism that is used for treatment of kidney failure. It is a procedure in which the toxins are filtered from the blood by different artificial methods. Usually it is termed as the artificial kidney. There are two types of dialysis: hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis. Hemodialysis. In this process, blood is pumped out from an artery and it moves through the tube system in the dialyzer. In the tube system, it is made up, as the tube system is made up of the semi-permeable membrane or the selectively permeable membrane, so it allows a few of the toxic substances, high concentration of the ions or excess of water to move out from the blood into the dialysing solution that flows around the tubes. And so the blood gets rid of the excess of nitrogenous waste, ions and water, and then this purified or cleansed blood is sent back to the body with the help of another catheter or a small tube that joins a vein. Fresh dialysing fluid is made to enter the dialyzer, whereas the used dialysing fluid or the solution that is containing excess of the nitrogenous waste and different ions or salts, it is continuously moved out from the dialyzer. Peritoneal dialysis. Peritoneum is the membrane that surrounds the abdominal cavity. It is richly supplied with blood capillaries. A catheter is used to enter the dialysate or dialysing fluid inside the peritoneal or abdominal cavity. This dialysing fluid takes out toxins, nitrogenous waste, and excess of electrolytes or salts from the blood that is moving or circulating inside the capillaries of peritoneum. Once the dialysing fluid or the dialysate absorbs excess of these salts, then it is made to move out through another catheter or a smaller tube, and so the blood is cleansed or purified with the help of peritoneal dialysis. So peritoneal dialysis is different from the hemodialysis because in this process the blood is not made to move out of the body. So blood is purified or cleansed inside the body.